Ladies and gentlemen, señores y señoras, dame gospodo, welcome to another episode of the Ridiculous Podcast. Today we have a very special guest. Can I get a drum roll real quick?
You're the editor, so.
Oh, that's true. Well, today we have the Twitter terrorizer, the pun punisher. Some say he looks like Zion, but he vehemently disagrees. Not 1K, nor 4K, but Dom2k. How are you today?
What was that? The Twitter terrorizer?
The Twitter terrorizer, the pun punisher.
I like those. I'm gonna have to keep those for a certain occasion. I like that.
That's his new bio.
That's a Twitter bio, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a Tinder bio too.
The pun punisher. Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep those for. I don't know when I'm gonna need them, but I'm gonna keep that around.
Hey man, it's free game.
Yeah. This Utah Grizzlies game has been so bad.
Are we started? We started already?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I have it recorded. Yeah. We're at half. It should be like at halftime. Last time I checked, it was like 15 or 16 points. I was like, we could just go ahead and bail on that. I was only hanging around to see Utah's downfall. So if they're gonna win, like it's not really. There's not a story around this series like you have with the Hawks and Knicks or who else? So we have like the Chris Paul versus LeBron. Like there's no story with this. So if it's not an upset, if it's close games, like a close game is a close game, I'll be interested in X's and O's. But if it's not close and there's not an upset, then we can just record a podcast instead.
And it is 20 at half. I just looked, so it's even less of a game.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
No 20-point comeback.
74 and 1/2. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. Did y'all see the John Morant try to dunk on Rudy Gobert? I'm not sure if y'all were.
Yeah, it looked like Tiago and LeBron, but like way smaller.
Yeah. Some dunks John Morant tries. I'm not sure if he really thinks he's going to make it or if he just goes up like YOLO, basically. That was like a YOLO attempt to me because just Gobert, you clearly can't get high enough. He cocked it back as far as he could. I see him do that so many times, and like there's no way you actually think you could finish this. But I'm here for the almost dunks. I think somebody in my Twitter thread called him Jawmost. Is what they said. That's the new name for these dunks.
Dude,
Jawmost.
I don't know if I've ever seen John Morant actually complete a poster. Like he has so many like almost posters. I don't know if I've seen him complete one. Like that Kevin Love one is iconic, but
that's not the actual
he has
dunk,
the most iconic dunk attempts of all time, but not the most iconic dunks.
Yeah, before I tweeted it out, I was trying to think before I press send. Has he actually finished one of these? He had some incredible dunks, but like an actual poster, I'm pretty sure there's one out there that I'm forgetting. But there's just so many almost ones at this point. It's like those are that's what you remember.
Yeah,
we love Jaw though.
The Kevin Love one was dirty.
It's the almost. Yeah,
that one.
Yeah,
was,
absolutely.
If he would have completed that would have been up there with the Vince Carter over the 7-foot French guy dunk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was in the Olympics too. That was in front of the home country, so it's even more embarrassing.
Yeah, crazy.
But speaking of games, the Boston Celtics still have yet to play a game. What are your thoughts on that series so far, Dom?
Yeah, no, it's just like all these other teams have already got a head start, 2-game head start on us. We have yet to appear in front of the jury yet. No, in all seriousness, Jason Tatum got poked in his eye, and I haven't heard anything since then. I was just like, if y'all want to just hold him out now for the rest of the series, I'm totally fine with that, to be real, because coming into it, I had been saying, once I realized we were going to play the Nets in the first round, if we made the playoffs at all, I was just like, I don't care to make it at this point, because if Jaylen Brown was still around, I would have been a bit more invested in it, but without Jaylen Brown, all I saw was an injury opportunity, maybe an opportunity to get some playoff minutes for guys like Nesmith and Pritchard, sure. But really what I see is an opportunity for Jason Tatum to sustain a injury at the end of a season, which would cost him next season as well. So at this point, I'm like, look, Kyrie and Boston are feuding now. We've got our little story there. So let Tatum chill if he needs to. This is a sweep. Reality set in very quickly at the halfway point of game one, or like a third, or like 3/4 through game one. Reality set in pretty quickly that it wasn't going to be competitive. Game two, I can't even tell you one thing that really happened there. So just move on, bring us the Nets and Bucks, and we'll go ahead and start our summer. And do whatever we got to do to get ready for next
If
season.
Jalen had not gotten hurt, then it would be a little interesting. But you don't want a Jamal Murray happening with Jason Tatum. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because Murray's not going to be back until probably the end of next year, if he comes back at all. I mean, when Derrick Rose tore his ACL at the end of the season, he missed that entire year to get right. And they do say that about ACLs. They always say, yeah, you can come back and play in this amount of time, but really it's this amount of time you actually need to be 100%. So, don't really need all those complications.
And, I mean, he is already talking smack to the Trailblazers again, so that's always good to see.
Yeah, I heard.
The NBA.
I saw the meme that came out already. Go ahead, Rose.
Oh no, the NBA had to issue a statement to where he was like, because he was on the where the players go to sub in. He was all the way over there, like kneeling and all that. It's pretty sad.
They issued a statement.
They told the Nuggets to have him calm down.
That's crazy. That's it. That's the competitor, though. He thought they were probably contending for a ring this year, and he wanted to be a part of that. So that competitor is just bleeding out. I hate it for him. I hate it for the Nuggets as well, because once Aaron Gordon got traded there, I was really, really high on them. But now it's just see as far as they can go, I guess, before Jokic gets the MVP, which should be here it looks like it'll be in a couple of days, probably.
But that injury is more painful in retrospect for me, because looking at the West now, if Jamal hadn't gotten hurt, the Nuggets might be the favorites right now to come out of the West, which would be the first time I could say that in a long time. I mean, they'd be right up there. Like, they're already still a very, very, very solid team. I don't think they're favorites or anything, but I still think they're a hard out for any team. So
yeah. Absolutely. I agree with that.
I think, unfortunately, if the Lakers were assuming, hopefully, they do beat the Suns, unfortunately, if you do win, you'd have to face the Lakers. That'd be pretty tough. But, I mean, with the Clippers sucking, I'd say the Nuggets are second best favorites to win, unless you want to say the Lakers are first. I mean, I still think they haven't moved much as favorites-wise.
Well,
yeah, I'd say. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, they are significantly worse without Jamal. Not only because of Jamal, which obviously that's a big deal, but also Will Barton and PJ Dozier. So literally, the only rotation guard at the start of the year who is healthy now is Monte Morris, which is a huge deal because we're playing two-way players. We're playing Marcus Howard consistent playoff minutes. Yeah,
I saw that.
Like, I've been doing Zoom calls with Jacob, Noah, a few NBA YouTubers, and they're always like, "Why is Marcus Howard on the floor right now?" And we don't have anyone else, so.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't realize. Well, I did realize, but I hadn't thought about the fact Will Barton is still out. Is it from that Golden State game?
Yeah, he's supposed to be back soon, though. He's out for Game 3, but a lot of people are saying that he should be back for Game 4, which I really, really hope he's back for Game 4, because he would help a lot with what the Nuggets are suffering from, which is the lack of shot creation.
Right. And what was his
something with his hamstring? I forget what exactly, but it was a hamstring injury, and those are very finicky. We had Harden miss an extra month earlier this season because of a setback. So, you got to wait until those are really correct to have him come back.
Definitely. Yeah. Hamstrings are tricky.
Yeah, he strained it. It was on his right. He strained that.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, the Nuggets have been injury-riddled, and they're still making it a series. So, I'm happy regardless, just because Jokic has the MVP locked down, or at least what should be locked down, and he has been just excellent these playoffs. He's averaging 36 right now on, I think, 70% true shooting or something. I know it's only 2 games, but still, that's fucking absurd.
Yeah, he's having a field day. Absolutely. even in game one where they obviously wanted him to be more of a scorer than a passer, but he's going to get his regardless because they don't have a single soul down there that can defend him. So,
like, Nurkic is not a particularly good defender, and he's still their best defensive big, seeing as their other defensive center is Enes Kanter, who might be the worst defensive center in the league. He's definitely up there.
Mr. 30 rebounds?
Huh?
Mr. 30 rebounds, Enes Kanter? You don't know? He got 30 rebounds in a regular season game this season. You didn't know
Not
that?
off the top of my head. I can't say I pay attention to Enes Kanter's rebounding.
I forgot that was this season.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, he can get whatever he wants, especially on Enes Kanter. Like, on anybody, but especially on a Kanter.
And another thing is the Blazers have not been doubling him, which I don't blame them because he's, like, probably the best passer in the league, if not, like, top 3. But
right.
So he'll pick you apart that way, but I would rather have, the Nuggets role players shooting than Jokic just consistently eating in the post. So I don't know what that's all about, but yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fascinating to see what happens going back to Portland. I thought with Game 2, some of the adjustments they made in guarding Lillard immediately had to change because that was in the midst of his barrage. Y'all started guarding him differently, right? Where he hit like 3 or 4 straight threes, and then they were back down 12 pretty much immediately, and there was once he couldn't get clean looks and his teammates weren't hitting shots, that was basically it. Which is the story of Damian Lillard's playoff career. Basically, that's kind of how it always ends. So I'll be interested to see what the Nuggets continue to do defensively going into Portland, and how the Blazers adjust to it. I'm rooting for the Nuggets, even though they've got their fair share of health problems, and I think they will definitely be playing the Lakers, or whoever comes out of the series will be playing the Lakers next round. I have zero, and I mean zero, interest in Portland and LA. Saw it last year. It's fun for one game, and it was never fun again, and I don't think that would be any different this year. So, bring me Jokic and LeBron, even if I would favor LA still. Bring
I also think,
round.
As far as the defensive thing goes, they're going to stick with Aaron Gordon. I think that's pretty safe to say. And then off the bench, I'd anticipate Shaq Harrison playing a lot because I don't know if either of you were watching particularly close, like in the last few minutes of the first half. But as soon as Shaq Harrison checked in with like a minute 30 to go, it was an immediate impact. And right away, he made Lillard fall down on defense without fouling him. And they still scored on that possession, but it wasn't Lillard. So that kind of stuff, look for Shaq Harrison a lot in the upcoming series. I think, at least, probably. But Aaron Gordon's definitely going to be on him because he had a way tougher time in the second half than in the first.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you think this will be it, especially if the Blazers go out in the first round? Do you think this is it for CJ on Portland?
I think
it's it for Stotts. I think it's it for Stotts, for sure. It should be, at least.
It's going to be it for Stotts, and I think as far as McCollum goes, Portland is just a reluctant organization to make big moves. I can't name one big move that they've made in the past, 3 years.
Well, the Trent one was kind of. I didn't like the Trent one at all.
Well, even then, that wasn't a huge swing for the fences kind of thing.
For sure.
Trading McCollum would be a huge swing for whatever they got. And even then, I don't know what is going to be available this offseason.
What would you want? A center? A big man?
No, a 3-and-D guy, I'd assume. A elite, a Chris Middleton, but obviously Middleton isn't going to be available.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah.
But I think someone like that. Maybe if they could get Jeremy Grant from the Pistons or something, I'm not sure, but
Jeremy seems pretty dedicated to that organization.
Well, I mean, Isaiah Thomas was dedicated to the Celtics. It doesn't really matter what the player wants; it matters what the organization wants.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because I just think about how much Lillard says he wants to stay there forever, and whatever it is that's bigger than basketball for him that's keeping him there. Obviously, who knows? But I do know at a certain point, just like with KG and the Wolves, it becomes an inconvenience on both sides for a star player to be there when you're just kind of in no man's land. I think we're already past the point where it's an inconvenience for Lillard, but he's just so gracious that he doesn't really say anything about it. But at a certain point, Portland will either say, yeah, like you said, it's time for a big move so we can really kind of make some noise in this conference, or it's time to restart. Which again, I don't even know Lillard's age. He's not at an age where he's expiring or anything right now. But he's at 30, a certain point, it's just kind of like, he's 30 right now.
Yeah, he's 30.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like he's expiring right now, but sometime in the near future, it'll just be like, yeah, this doesn't make sense anymore. And I hope it's before his useful days are up, because as an explosive point guard, athletic point guard, he's 30 right now. Once you start getting into that 33, 34 range, it's kind of like, you can see the top at that point. So
yeah, he's getting paid $54 million in 2025.
Yeah.
So
that's a lot of money. I will say, this series is just a duel between Jokic and Lillard so far, and I've loved every minute of just those two going back and forth. Like, that entire first half of Game 2 was Lillard 3, Jokic 2, Lillard 3, Jokic 3, like Lillard 2, just trading buckets. Yeah. And it's basically the Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray of this playoffs so far, and it has been a joy to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from that standpoint, I definitely agree with you. Yeah, because Jokic did have an answer for Lillard when it seemed like they were going to come back basically from being blown out at that point. So, yeah, it's definitely been exciting. And I'm glad that Portland, I mean, you're probably not, but I am glad that Portland grabbed a game. So it's not just go back to Portland and see if they can just thug out one. I'm glad that it's tied and we have some suspense, at least for the time being. Same with the Knicks and Hawks for me. I'm glad that one is 1-1. I didn't want to see the Knicks drop both.
For it being a close series as long as the Nuggets win it. As long as they pull one out in Portland. I think that Game 3 is going to be a very big deciding factor in the series, but I think Game 4 is probably going to be the most important, besides the elimination game, whatever that game may be. Because Game 3 and Game 4 will really say who has control in this series. Whoever goes up 2-1 and potentially 3-1 after that, or if it evens up, that one will be, very important.
Yeah, agreed.
Which that can be said about any Game 3 and 4 in a 1-1 series, but I feel like particularly this series.
Right. Why so much more
I
this one?
think that, so the way I look at it is for the Nuggets, while they are always a resilient team, and they just have been for years, especially last year with 2-3-1 comebacks, they lost a lot of the firepower they had last year because they lost Jamal. MPJ has done great stepping up. He's averaging 21.5 this playoffs so far. But at the same time, you went from having 3 of those guys to having 2. And even then, Michael Porter scores in a very different way from Jamal. He scores a lot, majority off ball. And Jamal Murray is a shot creator. Michael Porter Jr. is not necessarily that yet. I think he can develop into that, but that's not really his game right now. And Jamal could close games with Jokic as probably one of, if not the best closing duo in the league. And it's going to be harder to come back without that, because that was their entire fourth quarter offense in the bubble. And with Portland, they've never really shown an ability to come back from adversity. So I think that it'll be hard for them to come back, whether that be mentally or just whatever. I think that'll be a harder ask for them than it would be for the Nuggets.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Speaking of Porter Jr., what do you think of, general question, what do you think about his shot selection?
If it was a normal player, I would hate it, but since it's Michael Porter Jr., I'm fine with it.
Yeah, because he does make a lot of shots where you're like, why would you take that? And then you see it's good. I've seen that more than a couple times in this series so far.
He shoots a very good percentage on contested threes. It's one of the highest in the league. I forget the exact amount, but I'm pretty sure it's close to 40. He shoots a ridiculous percentage on contested threes. So, because just his release point is so high, he gets so much lift on his jumper. If he is shooting, he's not going to be contested even if there's a guy right in front of him. Like, it's still basically an open three.
Right.
So I don't really mind. I think at times he gets a little shot happy, but that hasn't really happened in these playoffs yet. Like, he took 10 threes and only made one in game one, but none of them were, like, outrageously bad shots, in my opinion, from what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
But, like,
Right.
yeah, I don't really have an issue with it. I see people picking at it, and as a Nuggets fan, I can tell you, would you rather have Austin Rivers shooting a three or Michael Porter Jr.? Like, you know.
That's funny.
Tough choice.
Austin Rivers
Tough
isn't a
choice.
bad player, but Michael Porter Jr. is like a generational shooter. So I'll take Michael Porter, please.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. That's a good point about him. And, you know, his release point being so high that a lot of those shots that look crazy on TV are practically open and good shots for him. And if you have the percentages to back it up, then I guess people can't really say much because it's not like he's just chucking and shooting, 20%. So yeah. I feel that.
His pull-up still gives me nightmares.
Yeah, it
literally looks just like KD. Like, you can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, they have similar looking shots, but they don't really play much alike. That's why I don't really get the KD comparisons with him.
Yeah, that's where the similarities stop, just on that pull-up on, like, the top of the key. It's just, ugh.
But transitioning to a different series, let's talk about the Clippers real quick.
Oh,
So-
yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
So, in case you've been living under a fucking rock for like a few days, the Clippers have lost both games in LA and are down 2-0 to the Mavericks heading back to Dallas. Luka has eaten them alive, and he has been the best player in the series so far. I think that's safe to say, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
more than safe at this
So-
point.
Yeah. Not too much of a hot take.
So they're kind of against the ropes in this one. Game 3, I think, is a must-win for them because if they don't win it, they're down 3-0. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any team has come back from 3-0.
No, it's never happened. It's never.
Nope.
Ooh, voice crack.
And there's no bubble that's gonna make that happen.
So-
this year,
I think that if they lose this game, they might as well kiss Kawhi goodbye, which, like, if...
Kabai?
Yeah, that's
Maybe?
that's
That's my
worse than
line.
Dom, man.
Hey, man.
But, yeah,
I'm
and
still
if they
developing.
traded all those picks for PG just to get Kawhi to sign and he leaves...
I don't think he
Yikes.
leaves. Like, I would bet a lot of money that he doesn't leave.
yeah, I agree with Rose.
I mean, if they
I
get
do.
first rounded, bro, I could see him...
I don't think he cares. If he really wanted to pursue, well, not legacy, but, like, if he really wanted a ring, then I think... I mean, why wouldn't he have gone to the Lakers when the opportunity was there? Because that's pretty much guaranteed rings. And I just think, what's the motive for him to leave LA if that was the major reason why he went there? I mean, yeah, it was a good team and he wanted Paul George, but I think the bigger reason was that's where he grew up. That's where his family was. So why would he go to like a place like, I don't know, what are some options like Miami, like New York, some places like that? I don't know what the motive there would be.
I wouldn't...
My read. Oh, go ahead.
I've seen Kawhi to Golden State photoshops. That would be nasty.
Oh yeah,
I don't think it happens because of all the
Oh,
cap
yeah.
shenanigans they'd have to pull. But imagine if that happened, man.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
Yeah.
wild.
My read on it is well, to answer, is it Rose or Rose? I don't wanna say it wrong.
Rose, whichever one sounds
Alright.
great to you.
Yeah, my read on it is with the Lakers. I still think he clearly cared something about, let's say, quote unquote legacy, because going to the Lakers, it would have at that time, if you remember Kawhi in 2019, that was when people were doing he's the best player in the league talk because
Yeah.
LeBron wasn't in the playoffs. How quickly we forget, but also Kawhi did have one of the most legendary playoff runs ever. And so that was super strong. And at that time, when we were looking at him possibly going with LeBron and AD, we were saying, okay, this isn't... If he does that, it's not much better than what we have going on with Golden State in terms of overpowered super teams that we don't respect. That was kind of how it was looked at back then. I think that's part of the reason is whether you want to call it playing in somebody's shadow or just winning a respected ring, I don't think he wanted that. He clearly still wanted a chance to contend because, if I remember it correctly, he was only going to go to the Clippers if they could get get one of Paul George or Kevin Durant or whoever else was out there. He wasn't just going to go there and play by himself.
Yeah.
But he also clearly wanted to be in LA. So I think he cares something about the whole legacy part of it and basketball part of it. I also think he cares about being home as he has been. And because he doesn't show any emotion and we don't get these drama pieces about him, I have no read on what a first round out would really do. Off the top of my head, yeah, you would say after the collapse that they had last year and the first round out this year, for anybody who's just like a regular basketball player, yeah, you're out of here. There's no way you're going to. And the fact that you signed a short deal in the first place, he only signed there for 2 years. That's why he's a free agent now.
Yeah, I think he has a player option, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I'll check. I'll check.
Yeah, and so you would believe that would lead to him going out.
He does.
A first round out, and especially a bad first round out. Like, this looks terrible. You ducked the Lakers to get this, and then it's a team that most people had you beating in 6, and it was like maybe a 7-game series, but they had you. That's a really bad first round out, so it could lead him out. But I'm definitely more reserved about it than I would be for other superstars. Any other superstar, I'd be like, yeah, you lost him. Kawhi, maybe you have. Maybe he'll just sign there and they'll give it another shot. That's kind of.
If he resigns, in my mind, the most he does is like a 1-year deal. I wouldn't be shocked at that, but I would be shocked if he
I think a 1.
I would be shocked if he committed
1
long term to that team at that point.
Yeah, after a first round out,
especially if they either get swept or 5-gamed. Like, if it's a 4 or 5-game series, at that point, I don't think he signs back. Like, I don't know where he would go. Because Kawhi, I have no clue what he thinks like. I don't know Kawhi at all. No one does, besides like Uncle Dennis. But like,
oh yeah, that's the most exciting part. If he does become a free agent, Uncle Dennis is gonna light the media up.
Yeah, I that would be a terrible look for them. So.
Absolutely.
I do have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if we're gonna play a little bit of revisionist history. I don't know what the trade offer was between the Raptors in terms of them getting Paul George. I think Pascal Siakam was involved. Was it Van Vliet as well? I don't know. I'm going to look it up right now. But let's say if you could time travel back to that time, do you think that matters? Do you think – because I certainly do think they go to the bubble finals. But, I mean, would you still pull off that trade?
If I'm the Raptors?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. You keep Kawhi Leonard at all costs.
Yeah, I don't.
Any and all costs. Because what's happened to Toronto was very clearly going to happen. Once he left, you were like, yeah, they could be competitive the next year, but you're a championship team without your core piece. You're eventually going to rot away, which is what's happened. That was the next thing to happen after Kawhi.
I don't know what they were thinking when they didn't do that move because they wanted to keep Pascal Siakam. No, you could have had Kawhi.
Yeah, he had super high potential, but yeah. Oh wow! Apparently Russell Westbrook was also.
It was Paul George and Russell Westbrook for. Yeah,
and
it was both of them.
Oh wow!
So
I thought it was either or.
I'm not super high on Russ, but like he's still a good player. I'm not super high on PG in the playoffs, but he's still a good player. And also Kawhi is a top 7 player, so like I don't know why you would pass on that for Pascal Siakam.
Yeah. It was.
I wonder if there's more to it.
Yeah, him, Siakam, Van Vliet, and 4 unprotected first-round picks. How many picks did the Clippers sign? Like 7? And these guys were just asking for 4, Siakam and Van Vliet. I mean, we're playing revisionist history, and Siakam was seen as super valuable at the time, and he's still a good player, but he's like 26 now, so
yeah.
I don't know.
Riddle me this in the Clippers and Mavericks series. Because obviously everyone sees it. So what is if you can pinpoint it, what is the basketball reason to hand Luka his switches without even fighting? Like, is it the defense collapses elsewhere? Are they incapable when they have a Kawhi or a Paul George on Luka? Are they incapable of trying to fight over screens and not giving him Reggie Jackson and Pat Bev? Is there something functional there? Because that's literally what's happening a lot of the time. He is hunting switches, but there's times where I see Kawhi, it's just like, all right, this is you now, Pat Bev. This is you, Reggie. This is your guy now, and it doesn't work. That clearly
think it's laziness.
Who's their leader? Yeah, who's their defensive leader? You have to have a defensive leader for you to have an excellent defense, especially in the playoffs. Can you name me a vocal leader? I mean, Patrick Beverley, is that their vocal leader on defense?
I don't know. I think Pat Bev
he's just loud.
A lot of times he probably talks to talk.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that's major. Also, coaching. Ty Lue is good,
No, he's
but
not.
he's a little spotty here and there. He's spotty, but
Like,
Yeah, like
I think it's just leadership for sure.
in terms of leadership, and because there was a clear miscommunication where the Clippers were coming back at the end, and I believe they might have been able to make it a one possession game. And if you look at what happened, Luka called for a pick, and it involved Patrick Beverley and Kawhi Leonard. So Kawhi was on him. Pat Bev, he switched. It was or hedged or whatever, and tried to get back. Like he tried to get back so Kawhi could stay there, but it was like a miscommunication. It's like they didn't know what they wanted to do because Kawhi had completely switched on to Patrick Beverley's man. He was like, "This isn't me anymore." And Pat Bev had tried as hard as he could to run back, and then he realized Kawhi wasn't coming back to Luka, so then he ran out to him, and that it still resulted in 2 points. It was like late in the game, they didn't know what their plan was there. So yeah, to a defensive leader, I guess. That's part of it, and coaching has to be part of it. How do you not know what you want to do?
For sure.
And Luka creates problems. He's an MVP level player. Of course, he creates problems. But how do you not know what you at least want to get into, though?
yeah. I think a lot of it just comes down to laziness, man. Like, just Kawhi and PG don't seem to always want to stay on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also,
Clearly.
Kawhi is not near the defender he was in San Antonio anymore.
Yeah, I think his quads are not helping at all.
I don't think
Right.
I don't think he wants to play super heavy minutes, like super intensely anymore. Which, if it's like a quad thing where he's injured for the rest of his life, which is what I've seen or something like that.
It is. I think it's
Yeah.
degenerative.
Then if
It's
that's the case,
degenerative,
I kind of
think.
understand it, but still, that's kind of the case,
Right. Yeah, I think at minimum, because I get that. Obviously, in our NBA, we rarely get the main guys guarding each other, especially all game. But when your other, because that was the big sell about the Clippers was Kawhi and Paul George's perimeter defense. So okay, Kawhi might not be the same on the end anymore as he's been, and neither, just to be clear, neither one of them can stop Luka. Nobody can stop Luka. That's clear
At all.
But I think your chances with Paul George on him for more plays than he's been on him, it's a lot higher than letting him back down a Reggie Jackson, letting him back down a Patrick Beverley, or just going around whoever else. And yeah, I haven't seen. More times than not, I don't see PG or Kawhi take that challenge, which just goes along with a lot of the other mental things for the Clippers. Ducking the Lakers, collapsing last year, like it all kind of adds up.
If they dodged the Lakers only to get first round outed, I am going to have a field day with that one. I am going to.
Wait, I do have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, do you think? So let's say, do you think if they lose if they get swept, or if they lose in 6, do you think that do you think those factors would change whether that's more embarrassing than getting 3-1 in the second round last year?
This is embarrassing either way. This is terrible. Like, if they get swept, obviously, you just can never live it down. You get beaten 5, it's not much better. You get beaten 6, that's still the fact that you dodged the Lakers to get what you thought was an easier matchup. It's just different degrees of terrible, really. However they lose is different degrees of terrible.
I think that it's probably more embarrassing because at least you made another round in the 3-1 playoffs. You would have gotten first round outed in this one. So
Maybe last year too, because if Porzingis didn't get injured and if he didn't get suspended, then a lot of Mavericks fans would say that they should have won that series if they were healthy. So maybe it was just...
At this point, if they win, and if the Mavericks win this year, you might look back and say, maybe the only reason they didn't win last year is because they were healthy. Because they pushed them last year, the way they pushed them was more than anybody expected. And now they're doing, again, more than anyone expected. And they, at this rate, are probably going to win it. So you probably start to look back and be like, damn, that Clippers team was fraudulent from round one, really.
Also, in Memphis, Utah news, it is a 5-point game.
Oh.
What the fuck? Oh my gosh. Really? I'm going to have to cut that on YouTube TV right here while we're chatting. Awesome. Wow, Utah. Yes, let me fire up that Utah.
John Morant has 34 through 3 quarters right now. And there's 2 minutes left.
Okay.
Yeah,
It
if I
would
could just take a second to praise John Morant and his growth here in the end of the season, because it is awesome to watch. I don't know, I like athletic, confident point guards. I was a D Rose fan when
he
I was
gives D
younger.
Rose vibes heavy.
Yeah, heavy, and he's right now, as we're watching, helping the Grizz exceed expectations. He finished the Warriors. I mean, they had help, but he was the main point in finishing the Warriors, which was huge. That was only his second game I think he played against Steph Curry ever, and so there's that, and then there's this. They could go up 2-0 on the 1 seed.
That would be hilarious.
And he has 34 in 3 quarters, 36.
And he's shooting super efficient. I think he's 13 for 20.
Yeah.
Because some of the biggest knocks was on his efficiency. I mean, if you're getting an efficient Ja Morant, then it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, this is an awesome part of the playoffs so far. You got Luka about to upset the Clippers. You got Ja Morant maybe upsetting the Jazz. You got Trae Young. I don't know if you call it an upset on the Knicks, but still, he's definitely coming into his own first playoffs. Yeah, Devin Booker. Yeah, this is a transitional playoffs, and the game is not tied. No.
Wait, so would you, as a Nuggets fan, does it work if the Grizzlies somehow beat the Jazz? Then would the Grizzlies would then play the Nuggets if they do win, right? Because lower seed to higher seed. No,
they would play the winner of the Clippers Mavs series.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Ja Morant has just really matured, and it is awesome to see. Just fantastic. He's so entertaining too. Like he has improved a lot in the past month. So
yeah, I think when we've all joked about this series about Utah and Memphis being the series that nobody really cares about, and we wanted Steph Curry in the playoffs over the Grizzlies. All that was not a knock on Ja Morant and his entertainment value. It's just that there's more entertaining things happening out there. But Ja Morant absolutely is very entertaining. I even find watching Dylan Brooks and his aggression entertaining as well. So yeah, shout out to the Grizzlies, bro. This is awesome to watch, and I'm praying on Utah's downfall as we speak. So it'd be great if they could finish this off.
Because fuck the Jazz. But dude,
absolutely.
Imagine. They would be seen as like the worst 1 seed of all time if they get upset.
Absolutely. And I would, even though I want it to happen, I would be upset because I was very gracious to them this year and trying to protect them. Because I took time out of my busy life to watch Utah games this year. And as they were heating up and looked like they were going to be around the first seed, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be one of the people who just talk about them and talk bad about them and I don't even watch them. So I watched them and I like what I saw. But I even somewhat protected them. I somewhat shielded them from like the 2015 Hawks talk and all that good stuff. So if after I went out of my way to try to shield Utah, which I don't know why I did that. After I went out of my way for that, if they fall to an A seed, that'll be it. You'll never see me take time out of my life to do this again. Be a one and done.
Yeah, if they somehow manage to lose this game, they were up 20 at half too. So.
Yeah, that's why I turned up. I'm like, okay, cool. That they got Donovan Mitchell back. They got their swagger back. This is a standard game too. Once you lose a game one, you shouldn't have lost.
We were supposed to start recording this after this game, but we were all like, they're up 20. We can just start now. Nah.
We're safe.
Nah, Ja Morant had other ideas.
Oh my gosh.
Also, Dylan Brooks is shooting 8 of 9 this game. Good lord.
Yeah, I feel like he's taking steps here at the end too. I loved his attempted defense on Steph Curry and that play-in game, making the catches tough and all that. He's one of those fearless players. That sounds cliche, but he is pretty fearless, though, I would say.
He's one of those players where his attributes are best exemplified during playoffs. Yeah. So I love those players where they play up to par.
Absolutely.
Go Grizz. Yeah, I like Donovan Mitchell. He's and Mike Conley. Those are like the only 2 Jazz players I actually like.
Yeah, I like Donovan Mitchell and Jordan Clarkson, I would say. And I like Mike Conley too. So there you go. After that, everybody else, do what y'all gotta do. Did we talk about the Knicks and Hawks, or do y'all want to talk about that? Or
yeah,
just gonna finish watching that
Trae Young became an overnight villain somehow. They had flyers, right? I know you. Did you guys see the flyers that they were balding. Talk about his? Was it his hair? Yeah, that's so corny.
Yeah, it absolutely was. But this is it's been awesome to watch this develop because as far as I know, Trae Young has not had beef with New York
at all
up to this point. Yeah, and so it's fun because coming into this series, I think everybody picked the Knicks. The Knicks have been they had the most improved player, their defense, so everybody says Knicks. But I think at the same time, at least I did, we all acknowledged that it could go 7 games. So I had been saying I thought that was going to be the most entertaining first round series. And so to watch it live up to that, to immediately have Trae Young become a villain and tell this rowdy New York crowd, who hasn't even been able to really watch their team all year, to tell them to basically shut the fuck up. That was awesome. And then get to game 2 where it looked like, oh, damn, they're about to, he came here and took their lunch. He's the villain, and you're about to go up 2-0. And then it fell apart. I'm glad, though, because I want to see 7 games. So I did not want to see New York go back to Atlanta super deflated, down 0-2. I hope this goes
I do
distance.
too. My personal prediction was Knicks in 7. And if this is a 7-game series, then I am all here for it. One thing that I can say is that Danilo Gallinari fucking reeks in the playoffs.
His haircut.
It's the haircut.
Who gave him the thumbs up for that?
Yeah. That had to be a bet. I'm gonna go with bet. It had to be a bet. There's no way. Him and his friends were drinking one night. They made a stupid bet. He honored it.
Yeah,
things happen.
And also, Julius Randle has not been good. He is shooting, I think, 28% from the field on this series.
Yeah.
But in spite of that, the Knicks pull it out because, Derrick Rose had a pretty solid game. And by pretty solid, I mean 26 points solid. And then... yeah, that was great to watch. Reggie Bullock played really well.
Where was that on the Lakers?
Huh?
But anyway,
I forgot he played. I forgot about that.
I completely forgot about that. But
it was killing me that the Hawks were well, I mean, and Reggie Bullock is a shooter, so you have to. But at a certain point, it becomes like a part of the in-game scouting. He was, at the fourth quarter, he was pump faking on every single three. And they kept jumping out for it, and that would give somebody an open shot, whether it was him or making the defense collapse. It happened about a good 3 or 4 times, almost consecutively. I'm like, bro, he's not going to shoot the first one. He knows y'all are jumping for it. He's not going to shoot it. I hated that and I mean, I get it from a coaching standpoint because the Hawks almost came back, so I guess I can't blame it too much, but I thought there was a clear point where the momentum was tipping overwhelmingly to the Knicks, and I thought Trae Young should probably come back in before it gets out of reach. I kind of think that might have played a big part in costing them a chance to go up 2-0. Because they were hanging on for their dear lives. Like, you had the Hawks bench out there, and they couldn't hit the side of a barn. But for some reason, they were only down 4 to 6 points for a while. And then, but by the time Trae Young came in, I guess in hindsight, it was too late. It was a little bit too late.
They waited way too long. Also, it doesn't help that Bogdanovich shot 2 of 13 from 3 this game. Not at all. And then Hunter as well. Hunter couldn't hit anything with the game. But he did get to the line 11 times, so
he had some good things.
His defense was pretty solid.
Right.
He hit like a half court after they stopped the play, which was pretty random. But
I'm happy for Trae Young so far because I'd heard from multiple sources like Chris Broussard that he was always going to be a player that just couldn't win and wasn't going to translate to the playoffs and all this good stuff. So I'm glad to see him coming in and being successful, at least so far.
No, you hate Trae Young. Don't hide it.
I was gonna say.
No, you can say.
I was gonna say I don't.
I was super high on Trae Young. Yeah, I was super high because I had quite the take on him that we don't have to mention, but I will say I was probably the highest on him entering the season.
You had him as your MVP pick.
I did.
But
I did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like watching Trae Young in the regular season, but so far he's been entertaining in the playoffs. So, I mean,
Wait, Dom, do you like the foul baiting game? I enjoy that. Like, I feel like I'm the only one in this whole world that enjoys watching him foul bait.
Yeah, I guess it's just certain
it's art
moves that I see where it's like they're coming. And as a player, it's like, well, he puts you in position sometimes where it's not much you can do about it. Like, the specific one is when you get behind him and he crap dribbles.
Yeah.
You know that shot, that little stop and shot is coming, and you really can't do a whole lot about it. And it's a foul. It is. Yeah, of course, foul baiting in general is annoying, but I think he's mastered parts of it, and he does other things.
Yeah.
It's not like that's the only way he's effective. He's also one of the few players in the league that takes those logo shots, and you have some trust in it. That's still a short list of players, even though the skill has gone up like crazy in the league. There's still a short list of players that you believe in with that.
I mean, he's a great shooter, great playmaker. He affects the game in other ways, but a lot of the time in the regular season, that would be a big focus of his game, and it was annoying. But it's been less annoying in the playoffs, and I mean, I've really enjoyed watching the Knicks Hawks.
Yeah, I guess as a neutral spectator, it's funny because I'm just waiting for that super smattering of boos in the Garden when he gets a foul call on one of those that I guess you would call foul baiting, like because they already hate him. Hate in a playful way. I think I don't know how they really feel.
It's super random. But
yeah, it's definitely fun to see how much they already hate him, and then once something like that happens, I'm neutral, so I can just kind of sit back and laugh at it for now until one day I get into a playoff series with him and he's public enemy number one. But for now, that's my favorite series to watch right now.
That one's been really good. Wizards Sixers, I don't know why people were expecting that one to be a good series, but I saw some people expecting that one to be good.
Oh, can we talk about the Russ thing that just happened a few hours ago? That's pretty wild.
That is complete bullshit. Did you see what happened, Dom?
Yeah, ban the fan from games for life. That's what I'm gonna go with that. Because the fact that players aren't allowed to go and push your shit in when you do something like that, I don't think you could just slap him on the wrist and say, okay, you can come back to a game sometime. You gotta.
I know he's getting banned. I think he's getting banned.
People choose. It's so easy to just not do. Because me and my brother my brother was here, and I'm just like, yo, what did you expect to happen here? You're on camera. They can see you. They can see you were the one that did it. Did you think that you were just gonna do that and you were gonna come back to the next game or what? I don't understand the thought process behind it. Was it worth it really? I don't know.
I don't get what possesses a person to do that. That is just fucking gross.
It's weird. What motivates you to do that?
It's even worse because he was injured.
He's injured too. He was injured.
Yeah, what the fuck? I almost have to root against Philly now, and I actually like Philly's basketball team. I almost have to pray on your downfall now, though, just for that. And it's one fan, but now I almost have to pray against y'all.
I don't get it. I don't want to get it. I know it's just one fan, and I know a lot of Sixers fans that are good, but at this point, I have to root against you guys because of that.
I hope he was drunk. I hope
it doesn't make it better.
There's no way you're. There's no way you're but there's no way you're sober and you think, yeah, I'm just gonna throw popcorn at a guy who's limping off the court.
Yeah, I thought I did have that in my head. That's why I was saying what did you expect to happen? I do theorize that he was drunk, but still, now you got.
Yeah, there's no excuse, but it's for his sake, I hope. Yeah. I just hope.
Yeah. Because, I don't know, maybe every now and then, maybe every, 10 years, we need a Malice at the Palace where players
get
into the stands
imagine if Twitter existed back then. Oh, man.
Yeah, maybe we need one just as a reminder. Somebody need to get jumped on like a trampoline, as Kwame Brown says, and then everything will set back to normal. People stop talking crazy and, they don't feel bold. Maybe you just have to reset the natural order of things every now and then.
I have an idea. We put the Twitter trolls in an arena and see how they fare. Every person that KD has trolled or that he's been trolled by, just put him in the stands and see how that goes. Complete silence.
Yeah.
Dude, if any fan was to get Malice at the Palace, it should have been that guy.
Because Russ, a man is incensed when he's rushing to try to get to you, but he's also kind of smiling and laughing at the same time. He is livid because that's what Russ was on. If you look at the video, he was getting hold back. He was kind of laughing at the same time. He was primal instincts were taking over. So that's a great thing that there was 6 security there to stop him, because otherwise
if it was 5 security, that man would be dead right now. One less.
One less.
Russ is in that stand because Russ is still very. Compared to the average person, and even in the NBA, he's very athletic, and he's also an NBA player, so he's a 6'4" guy. That guy would have died. And he would have deserved it. But,
Speaking of what was I didn't even get it. That took precedent. What was Russ's actual injury?
It was
his
ankle,
like
I think.
next
I didn't
week?
see.
Was it
I
an
turned
ankle?
that game off.
I'll look it up.
I haven't even seen the
It
final
was
score.
120 to 95.
It was something lower body, I think.
Oh, okay.
Don't quote me
Great.
on that.
Yeah, that's a sweep as I thought.
But-
pretty much.
This Memphis game is back up to like 12.
Yeah.
As soon as we
sadly.
start watching.
I thought they were gonna
Yeah.
sell for a second.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Yeah, it was ankle injury. Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay.
I think,
Hopefully he still gets to
I think
play.
he rolled
I
it.
still want to see Russ and Embiid
Yeah,
get into it at
'cause-
some point.
Oh man.
Those two are entertaining to see go back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are.
Was Russ playing through an injury? Because he was kind of not good
I
early.
mean, he's always playing
Yeah,
through injury.
He wasn't playing good earlier in the game, so that's why I was wondering, like, maybe he was playing through an injury already.
Yeah.
Because he shot 2 of 10 from the field this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't heard of an injury. That I didn't see one in
Yeah.
game one either. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes he just has poor shooting. That's a thing that Russ
Yeah,
does from time to time.
especially in the playoffs, he's kind of prone to that. Yeah,
Mm,
I hope he's all
it
right
happens.
though. Ben Simmons put on a
Yeah, same.
masterclass during that game too, from what I watched. He shot 11 of 15 from the field with 22, 9, and 8 with 2 steals and a block. Obviously didn't make a 3, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a party. I saw him hit some like running
that,
jumper
like,
at
fader
some point.
thing.
I kind of turned away from it early because I was way more interested in Knicks and Hawks, so I just used that one as like an appetizer.
Yeah, Mitchell is out. He went back to the locker room, so that doesn't.
Oh yeah, he took a spill. I saw.
Yeah.
While we were sitting here, I think this game is back
Yeah.
to being over though.
I hope Mitchell's all right.
Cue the lo-fi, maybe.
Cue the
Are
lo-fi?
we gonna we're gonna get a
Are
live.
we gonna
Dom,
get a live
We're
Dom?
gonna get a live Dom curse. Yeah, live Dom curse.
Captured live on air.
Yeah, I would go ahead and cue it at this point. 15 points. This would just have to be the sell of all time for the Jazz to lose a grip like this and go down 0-2.
Yeah.
Nah, no way.
Yeah.
Would be hilarious though.
Did they call that a foul? All right.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Here you go again. Here you go.
No,
Here you go.
I've said my piece already. But let's see. Is there any series we haven't talked about yet? Oh, Milwaukee, Miami,
Lakers.
and the Lakers. Yeah. What do you want to talk about first between those two?
I'd go
Alright.
Lakers, I would say.
Ooh, it's my time to shine.
Yeah, Lakers fan.
Yeah.
How do you feel
Yeah.
about Andre Drummond?
Well, I think for a minute in the regular season, like I trolled my other Lakers friend Dolos. Like I used to just call him the next coming of Shaq, like Baby Shaq, just to make him mad and a lot of people mad because I really don't know any Drummond fan. Like I don't know if he even has a fan base, and I just wanted to be different. But in the playoffs, I think game one. I mean, he is what he is. I don't expect him to actually become the next Shaq. I think that's obviously a troll, but when he I think in game 2 where he's in a role where he's balanced with Gasol and maybe Harrell depending on the matchup, I think that's great. I do think at times he can be a huge negative, but as long as he's limited to rebounding and like hopefully Vogel doesn't set him up with more than 2 posts per game, but I think for what he is, he's great. I don't know what I don't even know what is he going to do in free agency. I don't know what his market
Sign
is
a
even going to
minimum
look
deal
like, but
somewhere?
I think I don't even think it's going to be a minimum. I think it's going to be a little bit more because he is those skilled players. He's rebounding specialist. Specialists usually get paid more than a minimum, but I mean, he is what he is to me. He's
Right.
super polarizing,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's whatever, I guess.
Yeah, he had a good game too. He played a big part, I think,
Yeah.
in their win, at least to start the game, which was great because he was getting killed after game 1 when I don't even think all of it was his fault. There was enough blame to go around in game 1.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was just a part of it, but he gave them really solid minutes in game 2. He was actually a problem at some points because the defense kind of had to collapse in. And the rebounding, like you said, specialist. I think he did a pretty good job there too. I think he might have had a double-double.
Yeah, he
pretty
had
early on in that
like
game or something
12
like that.
rebounds, I think 16 points. And like on defense, Ayton is still eating him barbecue chicken and all of that. But
Yeah.
I think he also has the Paul George syndrome where, like, even if he could do almost anything right and he'd still get, like, called out on, like, anything. But
absolutely.
I mean, I'm here to support Andre Drummond for as long as he's on the Lakers, I guess. Because, I mean, am I going to prey on his downfall while he's on my team? No, I mean, that'd be pretty lame. I want him to be good, but, you know, I certainly have been exposed to what he's capable of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. People are going to go at him regardless, because the one thing that went around on Twitter was that possession where he had like 3 or 4 tips, I guess, that was alternate rebounds or something like that. And he flopped on one. And immediately, it got posted on Twitter, and they were like, see, this is how he gets rebounds. When, if you were watching the game, that was actually a really good possession. He kept it alive and made the Suns fight for it, and it ended up in a bucket. I'm like, what else? What do you want him to do? Like, that was a strong possession, and that was one of many, but. Yeah, Lakers I think they're in pretty good position. I already feel robbed because of the Chris Paul situation. I thought this was
for sure.
Yeah, he's clearly not the same right now, and I don't know what the prognosis is on a contusion, but if it's like, I don't know if y'all heard, but he's actually on the probable list for tomorrow. He's on the injury report.
I'd say he plays. So we don't. I think he gets a little more minutes. I mean, do we think Cam Payne is gonna replicate what he did in Game 2? Because I'd hope not.
You don't want to have to depend on it. It's like, if you're a Suns supporter, you don't have to depend on that. And you're just not gonna win a series against the Suns without Chris Paul at least being most of himself. And right now he's like a shell right now, like, for the most part.
He has not looked like himself, and he obviously left the game. Like, he was healthy all year, and then the playoffs roll around.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because like he was literally the most healthy. I don't think he was injured for like at any point more than like 3 games in a row with the Thunder and with the Suns, and it's pretty frustrating. Even if they are technically opponents, I just love Chris Paul.
No, I'm telling you.
And like,
go ahead.
I wish that he was healthy, because if he was normal Chris Paul yesterday, they probably win that game. Probably, yeah. But this campaign also, you know, that's my Lakers devil's advocate. This campaign also pop off. I don't know. I mean, regardless, I hope he's healthy for the remainder of the series. But I kind of feel like, shit, you know, if he was healthy, this probably would be the best series right now. But he's not, so
it's still good.
Yeah, no doubt.
Without him.
Yeah, it's good.
You just feel a little empty,
Yeah, like where the Suns were almost about to win it yesterday, and they were trying to do it in the fourth quarter without Chris Paul. I think it looked more like a big brother, little brother series than it would have if Chris Paul was out there, because it kind of looked like the Suns were trying to just go against the Lakers' experience, really. And I think that really showed itself when they ended up giving LeBron a wide open left wing 3-pointer. Like, Aiden was in drop coverage and nobody stepped up, or he didn't step up specifically. I was like, yeah, that's just it's just a mistake. It's just a mistake. It cost them the game at that point. And headed back to LA, if Chris Paul, if this is how it's going to be, I think we can pretty much expect LA to come out of this 3-1 by the time it's time to go back to Phoenix. That's kind of how I see it.
I think it'll be a 6 game, maybe 7 if someone just. Like, if Jay Crowder shoots 11 3-pointers, but I wouldn't put my money on that at all. But
by the way, speaking of Jay Crowder, did y'all?
Oh, yeah.
You saw that tweet he liked?
Yeah, that was funny as fuck.
People took that super deep, too, because they're like, oh, well, you were competing for it, so what does that make you? Does that make you a fit? Yeah, it's Twitter. It's Twitter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But also, shout out to Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton for stepping up massively in this series. They've both been fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love me some Ayton. I'm a big Ayton guy.
Yeah.
And he's, like, for them to debut, and I don't know, they combined for a lot of points, and I don't know if that's one of the better duo debuts, but it was certainly good.
It was great.
Okay, we're just gonna slide by that one.
That's my line. Yeah, they didn't look like they didn't look out of place at all in their first game, which sometimes you might expect. But yeah, they looked. I think Booker reminded me. I don't know if y'all remember Kyrie's first playoff game. I think it was in 2015, I guess, against Boston. And it just kind of looked like he'd been there, and he was comfortable. But it was specifically impressive for the Suns because of who it was against. Like being against the Lakers and having the composure to be able to play well and hold that pretty much 10-point lead the entire game, even after Chris Paul got hurt. I was super impressed by that. But yeah, if you're a Suns fan, I wonder it's early to start wondering about this. This series isn't even over yet, but there's a very clear difference with the Suns when they have a point guard to distribute and when they don't, and when it's just like a some regular out there. And because Chris Paul is 36
something like
right
that.
now,
Yeah, he's in his latter 30s.
Like
yeah, I would definitely feel. First of all, I'd be devastated if I was a Suns fan right now because you can kind of see the writing on the wall if he's not healthy, and then you start to think, damn, how much longer is he actually going to be Chris Paul? And after Chris Paul is gone, sure, we've been made a little bit better, but if we actually want to get back to this contending stage, we have to get a legitimate star point guard who won't be Chris Paul, obviously, but you gotta fill that gap pretty soon here to keep the train moving.
Tyrese.
Yeah, I remember that was. Yeah, for the future, I guess that would have been a good thing. I didn't want them to at first because I wanted him to start as point guard somewhere, and so I was like, obviously not starting with Chris Paul. But yeah, he's still absolutely. He could be doing so much for them right now. He could be a major.
Yeah, obviously,
help for them
he got more
now.
opportunity in Sacramento, but like that would have been the perfect. Just give Chris Paul a few years. As soon as he goes, we got a great guy in the back. Like, but
absolutely. Yeah, that would have been a great teaching moment.
But instead they had to go and draft a guy who barely plays any minutes. I think he averaged like 3 minutes a game.
He's a big project. I like Jalen Smith mainly because of his goggles, but
yeah. Anyways, Miami, Milwaukee. What are your thoughts on that so far?
Well, at this rate, I mean, I just hope that game one wasn't an imposter, because sometimes you get that in series where game one is close and then nothing else is. Obviously, the Bucks came out in game two and shot far higher than I think is sustainable. So I'm hoping that we can get some close games in Miami, but I am also looking and saying Miami's had a problem 2 straight games now where scoring is just it's an issue, like it's a really big issue. But Giannis is obviously giving Butler problems as he would anybody. But aside from that, you don't have 2020 Tyler Hero out there. It's not the same on that front. Bam Adebayo, even if he were to be more aggressive going towards the rim, it is still a little bit difficult to get some up over Brook Lopez. But right now he's settling for a lot of mid-range jumpers, I think, and so his impact is kind of minimalized. Yeah, it's hard for Miami to put the ball in the basket, and the Bucks are a great defensive team. So I'm hoping for more close games, but if the Bucks are on even a little bit, because game one I think didn't even have to be that close. If they're on even a little bit, they're better this year. They're a better team this year. They're better than Miami Heat, and maybe I can still see it end up being like a 5-game series at this point. But we'll see what happens going into Miami.
Imagine they got Bogdan.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today when I was watching the Knicks game. I was like, wow, I forgot that Bogdan was actually supposed to be with the Bucks.
Didn't they lose a pick too? They lost like a second rounder or something.
Something like that.
And you didn't even get the player, so.
I
mean, Drew Holiday.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, Drew Holiday is. He's showing. You saw what he did against the Trailblazers. His impact, especially in the playoffs, is. I mean, they paid him for a reason.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think with this series, it's going to be impossible for the Heat to win if Jimmy Butler is shooting 25% from the field. So,
yeah, I think that's a fair take.
And also, when Tyler Hero is mean mugging Lou Williams and not like an actual decent player, it's kind of difficult to really get out there. I will say Goran Dragic has still been solid for them, but Kendrick Nunn has been pretty bad. Just a lot of Heat players have struggled. And I will say, you said that maybe they won't shoot that way the whole series. You can still say that about Game 1 when they only made 5 threes. And Miami made 20, and they still lost.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle for the Heat.
It's a different team than last year. I can say that for both sides.
Yeah. Somebody said Drew Holiday's biggest upgrade over Eric.
Oh, that was
something about him not being
aggressive. Oh, you saw that tweet? Oh my
Jacob
gosh.
said that.
Yeah.
Jacob said that in a video.
Yeah, he said that.
And then Aki tweeted it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And then
And he got like 20K.
Yeah, that's why I saw the
He
tweet,
got
yeah.
20K. And then like an Instagram page with like 1.4 million, like a basketball one. They stole it. So, well, I don't know, stole it because his username was right there. But yeah, that was
funny as
hilarious
hell.
because Jacob was like, yeah. I said it.
It
and
makes you
somehow-
wonder. It makes you wonder with Drew Holiday because my big thing was all year. I was like, man, if Chris Paul was on the Bucks, they'd be looking at a finals run right now. But then you realize every single time we get to the playoffs, Chris Paul gets hurt. It's almost like a switch just flips and it automatically happens. So you wonder, like, hey, well, Drew Holiday, he's got the durability and at least he's gonna be there. So if Chris Paul's on the Bucks, they would have been some bullshit probably there too, and he wouldn't be. Obviously, it's all hypothetical, but Drew Holiday is awesome for Milwaukee, and I'm already plotting on this Bucks and Nets series. I want to see the Nets actually, maybe get pushed, even though I don't think there's a good chance that they lose, but I still want to see that though.
Yeah,
satisfy my curiosity.
Drew Holiday is awesome. Period. I don't know if you guys heard. I think last year he donated his bubble salary to some minority-owned businesses, and I think he did the same for his playoff salary this year. So
he's a great guy, great teammate from everything that's come out about him. He's been great for them. That was a tweet, like a joke, but at the same time, it's actually kind of true. Just like...
Yeah, it's very true.
It's, he's been fantastic for him. Chris Middleton has been very good these playoffs. Giannis, they've used Giannis more as a big man these playoffs, and that's paid off massively for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't seem scared of the Heat at all anymore.
At all, yeah.
Yeah. No, when Giannis didn't react to Ariza at all,
He was
and when they
laughing.
didn't lose
He
game
was
one,
laughing.
I thought that was a really big thing. Was not losing, because if they would have lost game one, I would have been like, okay, this team beat you last year. They looked mid all year, and then they've already got your game one on your home floor. I thought that would have been a gigantic mental hurdle to get over. But no, he didn't react at all to Giannis or Ariza. He laughed at him, and to your point, using him as a big, I do see that's what I wanted to see last year, and that's kind of why I wanted Chris Paul there, because I wanted there to just be some sets sometimes where he goes down low and they do whatever they got to do to get him going towards the basket, and I've seen that a couple of times, so that's good because you're never going to win a championship with Giannis just running with the ball in his hand into people downhill. Like, it's awesome, and sometimes it's going to get you cool dunks, and it might even get him 30 points after a while, but that style will never win him a championship. So.
Oh, CP to Giannis lobs. What could have been?
But
yeah. It would have been awesome.
I think that's all the playoff series, so if you guys want, we can get to just a few questions and then round it out from there.
Before that, I don't know, Dom, are you going to make awards? Well, the awards already happened, so.
Yeah,
so
I never really do, though. Sometimes I make some tweets about the awards. I never really go and do, like, an awards list. Because I feel like the awards, we kind of already know who's going to win most of them, like, every time before it happens. So I'm just kind of like, by the time it gets there, that's a Twitter thing for me.
So who's your rookie of the year, if you want to preview that?
I still got LaMelo winning it. I thought there was some, obviously, a late push with Anthony Edwards there. Then, Reese was somewhere on that ladder. But I thought LaMelo kind of had it locked down most of the season. I would be shocked if it didn't go to him. Just knowing how awards get voted on a lot of times, I'd be kind of shocked if it ended up going to Edwards instead.
Is there ever like a realization that like you're like kind of homies with a top 3 rookie?
Yeah, I mean, really, Reese is just like a regular friend. To see, it feels like when you play 2K with, because I think he reached out to me in March of last year when I didn't fully know who he was.
Pre-draft,
and then we started playing. Pre the draft. Yeah, I started playing 2K with him probably in like September, and then it wasn't just him. It was like his group of friends as well, like Ben and Tyler. So it was almost like a group of people that I grew up playing 2K with, and we say all the same things, and it's like all the same shit. So kind of just after a while, it's just like, oh yeah, it's just Tyrese who also happens to play in the NBA. Yeah, I think it kind of became like that since I didn't meet him while he was in the league, I guess.
Yeah, I remember you snuck him into a locker room. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was. I never asked him again to come back.
I mean, some of the questions that people were asking.
Yeah.
The LeBron one is iconic. I'm not going to repeat it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he really liked it, so I never bothered him about it again because people just don't know how to not be fucking.
And that's the thing with all like player locker rooms. People are just weird on them.
Yeah, like you gotta, you got a professional
Yeah.
player here, and you don't want to like ask something engaging. Like you just want to be a
Yeah.
fucking funny guy.
Especially
so-
with like someone who's your friend,
But,
because it might be like a
Yeah.
little more funny if you just like don't really know the guy. It's still like weird, but like you might be able to get a little chuckle out of
Yeah.
it. But if it's just your buddy, it's like why the fuck, you know?
Yeah, it's just strange. So, but yeah, it was cool of him because I remember when he pulled up to that room. I think I had just briefly mentioned it to
Yeah.
him a while.
No, you didn't even
about
mention it. He
locker
was just-
room.
Yeah, he was just in the chat, and people were like, "Wait, is that actually Tyrese?" And you were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, yeah, that's just Tyrese."
Yeah,
And then people were like,
he
"Wait,
did
wait,
that.
yeah." They were
Yeah,
freaking
he
out.
comes through to the Twitch chat often. Sometimes I just be streaming and he pulls up. He's like, "Oh yeah, in here before I play a game or whatever." Yeah, didn't he the limited merch I did? He wore the Q the Lo-Fi
yeah, I
that
remember
one time,
that.
and I
Pre-game.
I
Pre-game,
didn't
yeah.
say it, I didn't ask for that at all. He just did it. So yeah, Reese is good people.
seems
Yeah,
super
I
dope.
also remember that room
Yeah,
was the
he
first time
is.
I interacted with either of you. So that's yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
like I had subbed before to your Twitch, but that was the first time I like ever talked in a room with you or anything.
Wait, you weren't in Dom rooms before? He made hella rooms before that, though.
That was
I don't know. That was pretty
Yeah.
close to the beginning. That might have been like the third one
yeah.
or second. Or
I
third
wasn't.
One.
Because me and Asher met talking to Eric Pascal. So
Oh,
that was like
okay.
January, too. Dang, that was
Yeah,
January. It's
Doesn't
kinda
seem like
scary.
that long ago, but in the grand
Yeah.
scheme of things, yeah.
Yeah, locker room is pretty cool. It was awesome the first week.
It was.
And then I didn't. After that, I started to get tired of it a little bit, just because of the way the
Yeah.
rooms were and how many people were up. And then I was like, I woke up one day and I just told Eric, I was like, all right, I'm not listening to people be fucking annoying anymore. Like
Yeah.
we're about to gain control of this. And so I was like, whoever wants to stay can stay, and whoever wants to bounce. It just worked
Yeah.
out pretty good. I think they're really, especially during the playoffs, they're actually very enjoyable
Yeah,
to do now.
I remember. I think it was for the music that I made for that one video. You just randomly tossed.
That's our intro
Yeah, you just
song.
randomly tossed in there. Oh, by the way, you want to be like the third guy on this? And I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because we definitely needed, just the more people you're familiar with up there makes it go a
Yeah.
lot smoother. Yeah, definitely makes it when you get a couple. Like I would like if Zames would be a regular fourth, but I'm not even sure what
Yeah.
his schedule is like. But yeah, it has been dope just being able to have co-hosts up there, then rotate, and yeah, it's been fun.
I've definitely
I
enjoyed
don't think
them
I've been
more.
beamed up in like 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah, because after. Yeah, I was just like accepting anybody
Yeah.
to come up for a while.
Dude, there was like
It
20
was
people at once. That's just not.
Yeah,
It's not a good
Yeah.
formula.
yeah.
At all. But yeah, they've been pretty cool. We'll see what happens after the next few months. I think when it was a couple of months ago, I was like, bro, I'm just gonna do my like contract and I'm not coming back after this. But since it's been kind of like controlled, we'll see what happens. It is interesting because like this feature is popping up everywhere. Like you already had Clubhouse, obviously,
Spaces,
but
yeah.
you got this. Then Twitter has Spaces now too, so it'll just be interesting to see what happens within the space. I mean, locker room has its
Yeah.
own community
For sure,
So we'll
for
see
sure.
what happens after August.
There's a lot of regulars over
Yeah.
there. I haven't been on it in a
Yeah.
while. I should be more active during the summer, though. So a beam up here and there would be pretty dope, personally.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, we got you.
So you guys want to get some questions to round out the pod?
For sure, for
Alright,
sure.
yeah.
So first one.
Wait, there was one I
okay.
like. Oh, wait, never mind. I'll let you go first.
Go
Go
ahead, go
first.
the first one is from Dominic, no relation. Which NBA team has the bleakest future?
That's a good question. I like that one. Wait, can you send that tweet in the Discord?
bleakest.
Or your OG
yeah.
tweet?
Let me send the link real quick.
All right.
Which NBA team has the
Tim-
Donovan Mitchell talking his shit right now? I
Kings.
like
The
that.
Kings. Because the Kings kept Walton, so.
That's fair enough.
And I feel bad for Reese, but, it is what it is. They have a nice arena, so.
Yeah.
So do the Orlando Magic. I would say the Orlando Magic have a bleak future, but I've bought a little bit of Orlando Magic stock with the moves that they made at the trade deadline. I actually like a lot of what they have going
Yeah,
on
for
for
sure.
the futures, but only because I live down here, so I see what happens to this team, and I go up there. It's hard for me to believe that they're ever going to turn nice assets. They're actually going to turn nice assets into something. I don't believe it. But from what they have right now, I can't necessarily say it's bleak
Yeah.
for them. But
Yeah, I've been to Orlando here and there, like almost like every year or so. But I think that they're like a market that's super underrated, and if somehow they can be consistently good, I think that's super good for the whole Florida.
it would be awesome. Like we have a crazy
the uniforms.
nice arena.
The uniforms are awesome. Amway is awesome.
RJ
The
Hampton
place
is
is awesome, but when you go there,
There's Disney.
Yeah,
There's Disney
hopefully.
World. There's Universal.
yeah, when you go to a game down here, it's like it's almost 50, if not 60-40 the other team's gear. Like every time you go to a game, you walk around and you see other teams' gear everywhere.
Yeah, like
It's
I'd imagine the
insane.
Heat would be like 80-20 maybe.
Yeah, it's wild. Now, you wonder if Magic players know that and they feel that energy, and that's why it's always so bleak for like player development here. Because I don't know, like Aaron Gordon was so happy to get out of here. It's just player development down here it's like your basketball career is on hold while you're here.
And it's
kinda
Florida.
like
There's
what
no
it
state
seems
taxes.
But
so it's
The
like,
thing is about the Magic, they're my second favorite team, which is not something that happened.
Because
they have Gary
It
Harris.
happened
They
in
have
the
Gary
past few months, and I watched a few Magic games over the last part of the season, and mainly because of Gary Harris and RJ Hampton. But I've come to really like some of the players down there. I was really liking Markelle before he tore his ACL.
I love Fultz. Love me some.
Yeah,
You don't like him anymore?
definitely.
You don't like him anymore? Just because he's injured?
No,
Yeah.
I have him on my Dynasty Fantasy team, so I hope he's good. But also, like, Chuma Akiki is a super underrated guy. He was really good this year.
Yeah.
RJ Hampton, Cole Anthony,
Otto
yeah,
Porter. Yeah, why'd you
Mo-
agree? That he
Mo
played like
Bamba,
3 games. You get,
I just like a lot of the young core they have down there. And if they get, like, the first pick, they'd have Cade Cunningham.
oh, Cade. I'd love Cade
And
down there.
That'd be
Him
awesome.
or Mobley. Mobley
I
would
really
be
want
nice.
them to win because I made a $20 bet with Jacob that the Magic would have more wins than the Bulls next season. So
Ooh. That's
That's
quite a bet.
I don't know.
Already
I don't
odds
know
are-
why I
the
did
odds are
that,
not in your
but
favor.
I,
Well, it's payback for the Aki bet. Because he thought MPJ was going to the Rockets.
I don't know why.
So
Yeah, I guess. But anyways,
technically you're not losing
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, when you ask about bleak futures, automatically Detroit comes up because A, it's Detroit,
I like their core.
and B, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I guess you, in theory, just like the Magic, you just because of precedent, that doesn't mean I guess you can call their future bleak because they do have some nice prospects. It's just the fact that I guess living through the Pistons as I have, I experienced the whole Chauncey Billups and that, and it's like they haven't had almost any success since then. So I almost have them in the same bucket as Orlando. It's like no matter what they have, I don't believe it's gonna materialize. But they do have Grant, and you got pieces. There.
Isaiah
You
Stewart.
got pieces there, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, yes, we'll see if it ever materializes. But so far in Detroit, nothing has gone right since Chauncey Billups was traded for Allen Iverson. So
I
think Detroit being good is super good. Like, if they can ever be good again, I think it's super good for the city. So.
oh yeah,
I think
Definitely.
that like the Kings, the
Clippers? Hello?
no, probably the Kings
No, I'm
or
just
like
kidding.
I'm not super high on the Rockets' future. I don't like KPJ is really good, but besides like I don't know.
If they don't get a pick
Yeah,
this
that's
year,
what I
that'd
mainly
be super
mean.
rough.
Because like they have KPJ and
Right.
Christian Wood, but besides that, they don't have a ton of young talent. Like Jay Tate is already 25 or something like that. So by the time their future comes around, he's going to be in his 30s. You know, I don't.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. That was just more like to be a quirky pick or whatever, like a alternative. The Cavs don't have a great
Okay.
future in my mind, just because they're the Cavs. Precedent, I guess. But yeah, there's a few teams that are just like you'd never expect them to be good, but then you have every year there's a team that's like not anticipated to be good, and then they're great. Like this season, you had the Knicks.
Hornets.
A few
Hornets,
seasons back, you had the Nuggets when that first year when they became the second seed after being in the lottery the season before that.
Was that 17?
It was 18-19.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
What year was the Jamal Murray dagger shot? he did like the bow and arrow type of thing. That's super like random. I think that was
I think
17,
that was
18.
the first time, yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways,
but, yeah, there's always a team that was not supposed to be good and is good. So who can say, you know? And then I got like 5 questions about why your puns are so bad. I think that's more just a Twitter persona than anything. But
oh yeah, I wanted to talk. When did the Twitter persona become real?
The Twitter, I'm not sure it ever did. If you mean
no, because like on like streams and like on videos, you're like, because this is the same thing with Noah. You're like completely different people on Twitter than on videos.
Yeah, Twitter is all jokes. I think there's only every now and then in a video you'll probably see like when I was doing the recaps for the streams, I was having like a pun at the end of every video. Other than that, yeah, most of what happens on Twitter stays on Twitter. It's complete jokes. It's like its own. Twitter is literally like its own universe.
Yeah.
There's so much random shit that pops up everywhere, and so many different voices. It's just its own thing. That's the only way I can describe it. To be real,
I remember you
fun.
became like a Hornets stan for a week or two on there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
People were like, we.
Yeah, I like LaMelo and their commentators and their jerseys. Yeah, they.
You like their new jerseys? I like their old jerseys.
I love
better.
their new jerseys.
Yeah, I like what they have going on. I do too.
I don't like
beautiful
it.
color,
Yeah.
beautiful design.
I want to get a LaMelo City jersey, but those are expensive. So
I want to get I'd get an older. I'd get maybe like a Muggsy Bogues because Short King. But I think I have a non-basketball question. Are we cool with a non-basketball question, real quick?
Yeah.
So I'm asking this just because I think all three of us are like gonna have complete opposite answers. I'm gonna have to look for it. Give me 1 second. It was a music question. All right, it's from. Oh goodness, Udos268. I hope I said that right. He just asks what is your favorite music artist? Because I have a bone to pick, but I'll let you go, Asher.
My personal favorite is Hendrix. I am big on guitar stuff because I play guitar. And, I mean, I like a lot of old rock. I like a lot of psychedelic rock. I like a lot of jazz stuff. As of late, I've been listening to a lot of bossa nova, which is like a Brazilian kind of jazz. I like Celtic punk, which is the only kind of punk
super niche.
I like. Steely Dan is great. If you guys want a more detailed answer, ask on the next pod because I can go for like 30 minutes on who I like. But
so who's the one
Hendrix.
if you had to choose? All right, for sure. What about you, Dom?
If you're going favorite, it's gonna have to be between J. Cole and it's Drake. It's gonna have to be Drake. There's just no way around it. I have he's got a song for every like era through my life so far in every mood. So it's one of those. And it's probably out of those two. The playlist doesn't lie. It's probably gonna be Drake, honestly.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I'll get on my rant here. It's not more of a rant. It's just more like, but I was a big Ye fan. I mean, I still am, but like, I think Ye is also timeless. There with Drake, where they have a hit in pretty much every decade of this millennium so far. Well, I don't know about 2020, but recently, like 3 to 4 weeks ago, I don't know, Asher, have I told you about my Nelly Furtado obsession?
No, you have not.
No, like, bro, so I listened like 4 weeks ago. Like, let me ask you this. At what point should you be sick of a song? Or an album, maybe?
I've been listening to the same 3 Hendrix albums for like 5 years. I don't think there's a point where you can get sick of an album that you really love.
Literally every day I just listen to Nelly Furtado for the past like 4 to 5 weeks, and I think that's an issue, but it's also super good music. If anyone is wondering, Loose, that's a great album. I mean, it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. She has hella versatility.
When is this album from?
2006.
Oh, so it definitely has Promiscuous on it.
Yeah, that's the one with Promiscuous. I think that's her biggest song in terms of popularity. But I think my favorite song off of that, just to put you guys on, would definitely be "Say It Right" or "Do It." But Yeah, her or Ye, which are like completely opposite people.
Yeah.
But I think that's my favorite musical
Yeah,
artist.
I don't know jack or shit about rap, so that like
Logic. I like Logic, which is kind of controversial.
last week we got asked like who are our top 5 rappers. I couldn't even name you 5 rappers from now. Like I listened to the first 3 Ye albums.
And you didn't like them? How do you not like
I
Ye?
love the first 3 Ye albums. I'm saying those are what I listened to.
So-
and I listened to Coloring Book and Acid Rap. Those are like
why would you listen to? Oh, no, Coloring Book is good.
those are
Coloring
the
Book
only
is good.
ones I really like. And then I've listened to some Drake and like a lot by 21 Savage, and that's about it. And
A lot of
and
21
some-
Savage. Oh, I thought you meant a
No.
lot of. You said the song.
and like some Eminem. Those are I don't know a ton about rap.
It's good. I think it's there's different subgroups for rap. You know, there's lyrical, there's to the beat, there's SoundCloud, there's all of those. And I mean, yeah, it's super different for different people, but I mean, if you put me onto Celtic punk, then I'll put you onto some good rappers. We can have a little trade.
Yeah.
I think if I can go next, do you have a question that's itching your mind?
Yeah,
Asher?
who in the NBA or current draft class has the highest chance of being the next GOAT?
Oh, that was a good
From
one. That was a
Claxton
really good
World.
one. I think Luka is the
Luka,
biggest. Oh,
That's where my mind
I
went.
think that like Luka isn't the best player in the league, but like as far as when players got their start, you know, he just started
The start
off
is super important. It's super
good.
important.
If you
On
look
100,
at like
yeah.
Jokic or Embiid, who are both really good young players, Embiid didn't play for his first few seasons, and then Jokic took a little while to get like to where he is now. You know, if you look at Kawhi, he took a while to get there. KD, I just don't think has enough oomph behind him to get to that.
His
place.
injuries, his injuries. didn't
Yeah,
help
and
at all.
also I don't think people are going to look at his rings with as much like awe as, you know, if Luka gets rings. He only has 1 MVP.
I mean, if he retired today, he's a guaranteed first ballot. Hall
Yeah,
of
for
Famer,
sure.
so.
I'm not saying KD isn't good, but like
No, I mean Luka.
Yeah, because of his international shit.
Yeah, his internet. People don't.
Yeah. Yeah, and so he's got his international stuff. Like you said, he basically started his career on 100. You come out with the Rookie of the Year. Your very first playoff stint it has GOAT moments in it, but then you get injured, so you slow down a little bit. Now you're about to upset a team and maybe even sweep a team that people had possibly making the finals, and who knows where to go from there. And this is all just year 3, right?
Yeah.
So
Year 3.
I'm pretty sure the health always assumed you have MVPs coming, you probably have championships coming, and he's starting off in one of those positions where, like you were saying with Kevin Durant, and looking at his rings not being as respected, Luka is kind of like his own machine down here, because a lot of us don't even rate Porzingis like that anymore.
He's for sure no.
It's not what it was supposed to be when we found out he was going to Dallas, and so if they were to even end up like in the conference finals this year, that would be like holy shit, that'd be crazy. And that's just year 3. So whatever happens from here, I think he has like the most potential to kind of be in that you know the next GOAT thing, next GOAT combo.
I don't even know if the next few draft classes. I mean, they haven't touched the court yet, but I think Doncic. It's just the start is so important, and I think internationally we mentioned it. He has a lot of accolades internationally, and there's an international appeal for the GOAT. So, man, he's certainly on a good track.
Yeah, he's got a great track.
If he keeps with the pace he's going at and plays for like 20 years, which he could do easily,
he's top 4.
He's
top
probably
4,
going to be
minimum.
up there.
Wait, I have a question. When do we think at some point before Kevin Durant retires? Well, yeah, I think we can all agree that Luka's going to surpass KD, but at what point do you think he's going to become maybe? Because I wouldn't say Curry. I think Curry's going to be at 2 for quite a bit, but at what point do we think he's going to be at number 3?
Number 3 what?
Like out of the whole league, or do we just?
Oh, you're saying at what point is Luka going to be top 3
do we think
in
he's
the
going to
league?
surpass KD at any point?
I would say top 3 player. You could see that happening within
These playoffs.
2 years.
Really, within the next, sometime within the next 2 or 3 seasons. I don't think that's that unrealistic.
Because I asked, I made a poll that if, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if Luka led the Mavericks to the Western Conference Final this year, I don't know, you'd have to make it quite a little bit of an argument to put him at number 3, but I think he solidified himself at least right now at 4 to 6. So.
Yeah, it's not that far of a leap for him. I mean, people rate playoff success the highest, and out of his first, how many playoff games is this that he's played now? 6 or 7?
He had 6. I think he's going into his 9th game in the playoffs.
They've damn near he's got some triple doubles in there, and even if it's not triple doubles, the stats are still crazy, and they're leading to wins. So, yeah, you just take that and expand on it. No reason to assume that's gonna change. Yeah, it's gonna get dark for everybody else.
Yeah, it's wild to think, like, a few years ago there were not that many, like, great European players. But now, after these playoffs, depending on how it goes, like, 3 of the top 6 players could all be, like, European. With Jokic, Doncic, and Antetokounmpo. Like, all 3 of those guys could easily be top 6 after these playoffs. Because Jokic is going to win MVP, and he's been great in the playoffs. Doncic is great in the playoffs, and he's an MVP caliber player. Giannis won back-to-back MVPs, and he's been better these playoffs. It's just wild how international the game has become.
Yeah. Life comes at you quick.
If there's ever a top Mexican player, which I don't know if that'll be soon.
There already is.
If there's
one.
ever a top Mexican player, well, JTA is awesome. But
he's top 5.
If there's at that level, man, you're gonna be seeing me like rock all of their jerseys, unless they go to the Clippers or the Warriors. Then that's hard to do.
Right.
But I think one question for me, it's also not about basketball. This guy was asking, we know you're a big. I didn't mention at the intro, and I apologize for this, but you're also a frequent weightlifter. Is that true?
Yeah, that's very true.
So Alec _ Krieger, hopefully one of those is right. 11, he asked, I know Dom is/was, I think you are, you just said you were, a big weightlifter. He says, what does that mean? What are some of his personal records for bench, squat, deadlift, either of those, and which is your favorite muscle group to work out?
These days, my favorite muscle group to work out, I would say probably legs, just because it's still what I'm the strongest at, and it's still the thing where I make a concentrated effort to do, really challenging weights. So legs would probably be the favorite thing. And personal records, let's see. The highest I ever deadlifted, for the record, like, I still do lift a lot, but I don't go for extraordinary high numbers anymore, because I just don't need, like, I don't need to be pain and everything. I'm not getting. Oh my God, Morant had 47 points tonight. I did not realize that. Wow. I don't have any reason. I'm not competing or trying to prove anything anymore. But when I was, highest I ever deadlifted was like,
in your prime,
almost pretty close to 500. It's probably in like that 460, 470 area, I would think, or something like that. I have to go back. I still have the video on my old Instagram, so I have to go back to that. That was deadlift. The squat stopped pretty early. Honestly, my highest squat when I was in high school was probably in like the 380s, I would say. And then I was like always playing basketball back then too, so my knees started to get pretty sore, and I was squatting is already hard as it is, so I never really went back there. And then benching is also, I've never been in the 4s in benching. Hell no. It's also probably in like the 380 area, I would say, for benching. So yeah, my brother is surpassing me. My little brother is 6 years younger than me, but he's surpassing me in all that stuff. Like, he took whatever I was doing in high school with like records, and he like blew that shit out the water, because he really does feel like he has something to prove. So he's trying to like deadlift 700 pounds.
Damn, personally.
He's trying to squat. Yeah, he's like really absurd with the shits. Yeah. Yeah, he's really with the shits. These days, I'm just like trying to, because I sit a lot. My work is literally sitting in an office chair, so I'm trying to cut down these days. I'm just now changing how I'm eating and shit like that, so I don't, so I don't lose my shape. And that's kind of it. I'm retired from lifting heavy. I still like to get a good squat, maybe squat like 315 these days, but I'm not trying to like do nothing crazy anymore.
All right.
So what would you say to like personally? I also want to work out super good into the summer. Build up some good muscles, get healthy. But what would you say to guys that are somewhat skinny or somewhat bigger? What would you say are the biggest factors in trying to control your mindset and actually focusing on working out and building up some muscle?
Well, as far as mindset, I would just say no. That if you don't also do the right things with eating, you're not gonna get anywhere. That's like the biggest thing, because when I was in high school, I would say I probably started making a concentrated effort to go lift in like the 10th grade. But it was probably like a year plus before I saw any kind of results. Because, yeah, I would go lift with my dad, but I was just also kind of eating very randomly. I wasn't making any kind of effort. Then my dad, obviously, he's the big weightlifter back then. So I just kind of asked him, like, what do I have to do to actually see results? Like, I can go to the gym and do all this stuff, but when the results actually come, it's like, oh, well, it has to be protein. It has to be, you got to make sure you're eating actual foods to go with that, and that you're eating enough of it. So once it'll be kind of, I don't want to say easy, but especially if you're just starting out, you'll start to see some results pretty quickly if you just make a concentrated effort to work out and add protein to your diet and eat certain things that's actually going to help you build muscle. And that's basically it. Back then, I started eating things like black beans, rotisserie chicken became a big part of my diet, boiled eggs. I was eating a lot of tuna, just literally things that focus on building. Because if you it don't matter how much you work out. If you go in a gym and you just work out and then you come out and you just eating strawberries and shit or whatever else it is for the day, it's not going to do anything without food. So that's like the most important thing.
That's some great advice.
All right.
To me and to others listening.
I got one more question, and I think this one is a good one to round it out on. From Fossil Dude 3, what are some goals in the upcoming year you guys want to achieve? And it doesn't specify what, so whether it be personal, YouTube, whatever. What do you guys want to do?
That's a great one to wrap up on. Good eye, good looks.
Do you want to go, Rose?
Oh no, you're our guest, man. You got to go first.
Facts. I would say, because it's like it's this is a funny question loaded. To get at like June, basically. Yeah, it's a funny one to get in like June. But I would say, how do I say, not moving away from YouTube, not necessarily moving away from YouTube, but I am trying to
expand.
Yeah, because like now I haven't really announced it or anything. Well, I kind of did, but I haven't really put any backing behind the fact that I'm working with the 2K League now.
Oh yeah, we saw that. I saw that. That was super dope.
I retweeted it, but I haven't really ever said anything about it.
Congrats.
Yeah, appreciate it. And that's like the first legitimate. That's the first thing I consider that I've done legitimately outside of content creation with the platform, I would say, because even Twitch is just kind of like an extension of YouTube for me in a way, and the type of content I've done there. So being on their broadcast, which I will be soon, I think Wednesday is the first one, and I would think that's like the first big thing that I've done with my platform outside of all this, and I'm kind of trying to get it to that point where I'm doing other things, and YouTube is still there. Like I always say, like, the way I'm truthful with myself, I always ask myself, if I hit the lottery tomorrow, like, what are the things I would still do in my life? And like, I would always still post videos, even if it was just like the most effortless type. I like posting content on YouTube, so I always will do that. But over the years, YouTube changes so damn much. I'm not gonna lie, like, it hasn't gotten, exhausting. NBA YouTube in specific, because I think that's an ever-changing one. So I don't want to be bound to YouTube forever, I guess you would say. I don't want to be stressed with always having to come up with something for the main channel, then also come up with slightly different content for the second channel, while I always also have to keep a streaming schedule. I'm kind of trying to get to where I do things that are a little bit more legit outside of it, so I think the 2K League is a good start from there, because I consider that a good opportunity. You get good connections out of that, and so yeah, I would say that's kind of one of my goals, is just I'm not trying to say move away from YouTube, but definitely expand from it, which is why you see me on Twitch as much as I do, because although that is an extension of YouTube, it is still something that's a bit different. I think I've made probably one main channel video in like the last 3 weeks probably, and I've been doing a lot of playoff vids on the second channel. But yeah, the main channel is very complicated, so I don't like to always have to come up with something like all the time for it. Yeah, that's kind of like the biggest. That's one of the biggest
just
things
become
for me
more
right now.
So
versatile,
for
that kind of
the yeah, just
Yeah, definitely. I heard. I remember back before I was a YouTuber, one of the YouTubers I followed. I think she said like, "Oh, if YouTube went away from me right now, like I'd be okay." And I was ever since I started YouTube back in 2016, or when I was starting to get noticed, that was kind of always a goal of mine. I'm like, that's the way you eventually want to be. It's like you still do YouTube, sure, but if they just clapped you tomorrow, like you still would want to be okay and be able to do other things, and that's kind of always the thing that I have in mind.
I think a goal for me would be probably 1,000 subs. That would be a good one. Nothing too big, but just if I could get some growth, that'd be cool. I think I hit 200 earlier today. So
shout out Jacob. Shout out.
Yeah, Jacob retweeted one of my polls for I'm gonna try and do like a funky my NBA kind of thing, how he used to do with the Nuggets, the Celtics, those kind of things. I'm gonna try and do one. I remember that was like the golden age of NBA YouTube to me, but not like in the quality of the content, but in the that's when I got into it. That's like the rose-colored glasses for me, because my first NBA 2K was 2K16, and that was when I first started getting like really die-hard into the NBA YouTube space. I remember I subscribed to Funky back then, I watched Kenny back then, and I watched you back then. So
Circle of life.
yeah. So I kind of want to. I am gonna run one of those kind of series, and Jacob or Rusty retweeted my poll, and I got like 20 subs off that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fire. Yeah, you're in a great place as far as like starting out, because that's the thing that becomes complicated specifically with NBA channels, in my opinion, is just being able to kind of do what you want. And so the fact that you're starting out and you got all these examples out here, and you could just, you're not depending on it for anything, so you could just kind of do whatever it is. And fortunes change very quickly on YouTube. Like Click Productions, like he wasn't really around like that a year or over a year and a half ago, and now he's been growing at one of the fastest rates, just like that. A snap of a finger, it just happened.
He gets 500,000 average too.
Yeah, so that's like fortune, especially in NBA YouTube, because there's just so much interest in it. Like fortunes change very quickly on here. So yeah, you're in a good spot for that.
I want to network more a little bit, because like
more.
I mean,
bro, you're connected with everyone.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's good to start off. It's good to be like have a good, like if Locker Room didn't exist, I don't know where I'd be now, but it like I'm literally talking to Dom2k right now. I think that's pretty wild, but it's good to have a good supporting base in terms of people who know what it takes to get to where you want to be. I think that's super good to have.
Yeah, because one thing that I've been grateful for, because everything with YouTube is not a right, it's a privilege. And like I don't take it lightly that I'm not big by any means, but I've already made it further than a lot of people do, and I'm grateful to the people who help me just in general, especially with YouTube, because they don't have to do anything. It's not like they're training me for a job because they get paid to do it. But like if I ask anyone for help and they do, I appreciate that a lot. And like, I don't know, I've made a lot of friends through YouTube already, and it's only been a few months. And just the more friends I have, the happier I am. Because, like, no one in my real life talks about basketball, and that's the reason I made a YouTube channel in the first place. So if I could talk with more people about basketball, that's great.
Yeah, the networking is a cool thing. To be honest with you, that's something that I'm just now picking up on. I've been around for like 5 years, but other than a couple of comments here and there, I hadn't really been involved with other creators up until like this last 2-3 weeks where we were doing the toxic NBA team up.
Yeah.
That has ironically brought a lot of us together. Like I chat with B Souls and Click way more than I ever have before. Toasted, like just a lot of creators just kind of kicking it, which I haven't seen in the community before this. So yeah, the networking thing is definitely important, and it's something good to get a hold of.
And like the team up things have been cool. There have been like Zoom calls I've done with other content creators, and we've just kicked back and watched basketball, and that makes it a lot funner than just watching a game on mute. And like both of those, obviously the team up has been like just it's brought a lot of eyes to just everyone kind of coming together for a thing, and it's been really entertaining to watch as well. But
yeah, absolutely, it's entertaining to partake in.
Yeah, I'm sure. Just shooting the shit with your boys.
I mean, the way you're hyping up these Zoom calls is making me fiending to get into those, but I'm not gonna push anything. But yeah.
Wait, the
no,
what?
I think I got rejected.
The Zoom calls I've been in.
Yeah.
Oh,
homie got rejected. But we push forward. We move. But yeah, I think. Yeah, for me, did you want to say anything?
I'm good. You can go.
All right. Yeah, I think for me, oh man, this year has been a trip because school was terrible, but we got through it. No summer school for me. Let's go. But I started off. I really just want to rebound because lots of stuff happened with my stuff on YouTube. I really want to get back to that because I felt like I was on a really good trajectory. Shout out to Jokic. But I really want to get set a mark, make a mark, because I feel like what I'm really good at is super good for YouTube. And then I don't think we all just want to be YouTubers. I think we like Dom was saying, he's already on the pathway to expand. I mean, he's basically an NBA employee at this point. But yeah, I want to set my feet in there and do what I love throughout the summer and then expand from there. But yeah, I mean, I just rebounding is the word for me this summer, and just be happy at the end, I guess. I think we all just want to be happy.
Yeah.
In what we do.
Indeed.
Yeah, whatever makes you happy, I think that should be your goal.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
And we all just happen to make basketball content. So
yeah. That's
why we're here.
All right. Anything you got to plug, Dom, before we head out?
Yeah, not much, I guess. Next Wednesday, if the playoff games happen to be boring, again, I'll be on the 2K League community night thing. That'll be my first broadcast. So, yeah.
Where can we watch this?
Come through.
Twitch, YouTube?
That'll be on Twitch. Yeah,
All right.
It's on Twitch. It'll be live on Twitch at the NBA 2K League Twitch channel, and yeah, we'll be live.
Oh wait, are you a play-by-play, or are you kind of like the? I don't want to
commentator.
compare you to Mark Jackson. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I've been watching the other people in my position to get an idea, because it looks like I'm gonna be with two other people who handle the regular broadcast. They're the ones that kind of carry everything. Kind of looks like I'm there as like a to comment on things more than I am to straight up.
That's a good start.
Broadcast the entire game. Yeah, it's a little because at first it was a little bit nerve wracking. I'm like, am I gonna have to know everything here? But I've watched. There's a creator named Pika. She's the influencer they had on tonight, and I kind of see what it is. We're influencers. We bring in a different part of the community, and just kind of our presence. That's how it starts.
Yeah,
that's super dope. I will definitely tune in for that.
Yeah,
for sure. Gotta root my guy on.
Yeah, facts.
I'll be there.
So Asher, did you want to plug anything of yours?
I mean, I don't know when exactly this is going to come out, but I'll have that Bulls My NBA series up sometime soon. It just is a matter of me editing the footage and all of that, which is a pain in the ass.
Good luck. 2K footage is my goodness.
But besides that, not really. How about you?
Well, mark your calendars. I will be coming back officially June 1st. I'm gonna be killing it for sure. my Twitter isn't as good as Dom. Definitely not as good. Dom is a high. That's a high standard to match up with, but it is.
Fun Punisher.
It is, yeah, and Asher. Asher is definitely. I'm getting there, but if you do somehow want to follow me on Twitter, it is Rose on YT. That's ROZ. I'm not gonna spell it, but
links will be in the description to everything.
Yeah. If you made it this far, do make sure to whatever your platform you're on, rate us, tell us, we're pretty good at what we're doing. That'd be pretty cool. Leave us a 5 stars. Yeah. And yeah, any final words?
Nah, I don't think so. Also, yeah.
Appreciate y'all for having me.
Have a good day,
sure.
guys.
We would certainly love to have you back at any point.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Yeah, y'all just let me know. Come on and talk about the rest of the playoffs because they're fascinating so far.
For sure. Thanks for coming on again.
All right, thank y'all.